to the Lazarus and Dangerfield show, where this week we are going to be looking at three thrillers: 187, The Chaser, and Prisoners. Let's begin with Samuel L. Jackson in 187. What did you think?
What did I think? I think we have a backstory on this one. So the reason why we chose this film is we saw this as teenagers together. It was during our Samuel Jackson phase, much like any teenage girl. We normally have these, Samuel Jackson was our poster boy.
Yeah.
And I literally wrote down, it kind of started with, I said it was Jackie Brown.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Pulp Fiction. Long Kiss Goodnight, Pulp Fiction, A Time to Kill. We literally went
Die Hard
through
with
a
a
whole
Vengeance.
list of Die Hard with a Vengeance. Exactly. How could we even miss out that? That was and yeah, we just had this. So we picked up this film just because it was Samuel Jackson, essentially. But let's start with what it's about. I guess so. He's a school teacher, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think we chose this as well, didn't we? Because it was our together film. We both chose our favorite thrillers each, and this was one we both loved, and we thought. So we'll do a tit for tat on this. But yeah, he's a school teacher.
Yeah, we've not seen it in years either.
No,
such a long time.
He's basically an inner city school teacher. He works in the type of school that thank God, most of us, I would hope, never went to anything like this, and I hope they don't exist, but I'm sure they do in places. But basically, he fails a student, gets attacked by a student, but with the intent to kill, and essentially ends up moving across the country. About six months later, wasn't it? And ends up being a sub in another sort of inner city school. But he's a broken man. I think that's about it, isn't it? He's a broken man.
Just wants to be a teacher, and he's kind of
but
lost a bit of that love and passion for the
hoods
job.
and punks won't let him be. And
this school's even worse. It's horrendous school.
The thing is, yeah, I know. And, like his first day, he goes into the wrong classroom and he's trying to look for the chalk and he opens a drawer and one of the teachers has got a handgun in his drawer. So I think it sort of says a lot about the school, but it says a lot about the education and the system. One thing I was kind of struck by when I first saw this film when I was younger, and I've spoken to American friends about this because metal detectors. This is just something I've never been aware of.
That always baffled me.
Apparently, it tends to be a city thing. So, and you would find it in your Chicago, your New York, and your LA. Generally, the rest of the country. Thank God it isn't a thing, but I could see it well being an introduction if it isn't already in somewhere like London, just because of the amount of knife crime, unfortunately, that goes on, or vicious attacks. But yeah, he's look, I don't know where to start with this because there's so much to unpack. Clint, tell me your thoughts.
I very much enjoyed this film. I definitely watched it with different eyes than when we were teenagers. I kind of saw the film in a completely different context because I don't think I quite had the understanding or the appreciation back then of the story that was going on and Samuel Jackson's role and what he was just trying to achieve, playing that character. Like I said, he just wants to be a teacher, but he's just trying to get through to the kids. But the kids, the kids all look like well into their 20s. There's another weird thing, like how old are all these students?
It's also a thing of being a victim of circumstances, isn't it? When you think about it, certain things age you.
Yeah, a lot of the kids are from very poor areas and all part of gangs, and it's all very, very violent, which is quite sad. And it's just watching his slow decline
Yeah.
Within the teaching role of just wanting to help the kids and not and
Yeah.
just kind of being victimized by all the gang kids, and just kind of his slow decline into that. I can't think of the word. No word escapes me.
Cesspool.
We could go with cesspool. Yeah,
insanity. Slow decline into insanity. Slow decline into. He's definitely he's being pulled. He's being pulled down rather than, he's trying to elevate their status, and if anything, he's been brought down to their level. And it's a very powerful film.
It is,
and it's one of these films that, if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it won't get a great review. But then if you read the reviews of the people who've actually watched it, they adore it, they love it. And I think it is one of these films. There's twice in my life I've watched a film and been like literally, it's one of those, wow. Like, I understand. Like, the first was Scarface. I saw Scarface for the first time and I was like, I understand the hype. And this, I remember watching it. I watched it alone, actually, the first time.
Okay.
I remember watching it alone, and I remember loving it, and then watching it with you, I think, the next night. But I just watched it and was just hit hard by just how much of a telling story it is. And
it really is.
Yeah, I guess at that age you can't relate to it, but it's, I wrote so many notes on this. The soundtrack, for one, is superb. I genuinely
brought a lot of memories.
Think this is, and I still say this, the best ever soundtrack I've ever heard on a film. And I mean that. I've heard, there's been a lot of scores, but it's all different people on the tracks. You've got Method Man, Everything But the Girl. It's just a smorgasbord, Massive Attack. There's so many different artists, but it's such atmospheric soundtrack. Another thing about it was the filters. So he starts off in New York and he used this blue filter on the film, and then when he moves out to LA, there's an amber filter, and it's this
amber red, isn't it?
It does. It's like a cold environment to this hot, sweaty environment, and just there's just so many interesting things about it. Centrifugal and centrifugal force. I learned about that when we first watched this film. So he's a good teacher. He gets through to us. And Pyrrhic victory, and I still remember that because of
victory.
Watching this film. But it's hard hitting. There's rape at school. There's drugs. There's gang banging. But the acting is superb. Yeah. Another thing, which you said about aging with this film, I never thought about the context of wait a cotton picking minute until I saw that film. When one of the teachers says it, wait a cotton picking minute, and I was just like, that has racial connotations. That it dates back to slavery, and I never ever thought about that.
I know. I know that never twigged the first time watching it.
Yeah, but this film is, it's. I just forgot how good it was.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, same. Excellent.
Just
excellent.
A great thriller.
Stupid. Be all the way stupid. Take the gun, put it to your head, pull the trigger. Do it. Do it!
So let's move on to, I'm assuming it will be The Chaser next, the South Korean
film. The Chaser, yes.
The Chaser.
So I chose this film. This was my choice for my thriller. I personally regard this as probably my favorite thriller, although it's not my favorite South Korean film. It's definitely my favorite thriller, period. This film is just superb, but that is my opinion. But Mr. Dangerfield is a first-time watcher, and unfortunately, we only had Hyundai and Old Boy as a reference before this, so I think this is number 3 now. Yeah, for Korean films.
For Korean films, yes, and yeah, I've got to thank you for putting me onto Korean films, because it's not something that kind of comes up over here. It's not something that's kind of readily, recommended. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I went into the movie not knowing. I didn't look up what it was about. I didn't watch any trailers. I literally went into the movie blind and had no idea where it was going to go. And yeah, loved it. What a great film. What a great turn of events. It was violent. in some, like surprisingly violent in some parts. I was really shocked. But yeah, so it is, just to summarize, it is about an ex-cop, ex-detective, who's turned pimp, for lack of a better word.
Basically.
And so he manages a group of girls, and his girls are disappearing one by one, and he discovers that they all disappear after visiting one particular customer. He keeps a record of everyone's phone numbers. And so he tries to warn one girl who's going to see this particular customer, but this guy attacks her, and it basically becomes, he doesn't know where she is, and it becomes a hunt for him trying to find her. But this, he finds a guy, and the guy gets arrested and admits that he's been killing all these girls, and so it's kind of a hunt for him trying to find this girl, and for the police trying to get enough evidence to basically arrest this guy and put him away. And yeah, there was a lot of twists and turns. I loved it. What a brilliant film.
Good.
Just highly,
I'm
highly
glad
recommend.
you liked it.
I was completely engaged throughout. I just, because I had no idea where it was going to go, and that's what I love about movies.
Good.
Like that.
It is, and I think that, and that's what a thriller should do. It is, hence the word thriller. It's meant to be thrilling, and it is. It has some superb actors.
I just remembered there was a twist I was not expecting, and it completely threw me off. And I was really shocked. Obviously, I won't mention it.
There's some.
Oh my god, that
good
really got me. That particular one really got me. And I
so we should name the actors, just so people, if you are familiar with it. So we've got
you'd be better at naming them than I would.
So we've got Kim Yun-sok, who is the main actor. He's the pimp. He's been in a few films. I like him. He's what we take traditional kind of Korean adashi older man.
His assistant
could be your dad kind of thing. Oh yeah, Kim Yun-sok. And then we've got, I'm going to go for the girl next. I'm going to tell you about the girl. She is in a brilliant film I recommend called Bedeviled. We're going to watch it soon, Mr. Dangerfield. Her name is So Young-hee, and she is in Bedeviled. Bedeviled is a great film. Definitely recommend it. But do tune in later, because we will be doing it. I promise you, because this is definitely something
not to be confused with Bedazzled. Liz Hurley and Brendan Fraser.
Definitely not, but that could be good. Bedeviled versus Bedazzled. But the most important actor I wanted to mention, or should say your murderer, is Ha Jung Woo. And Ha Jung Woo, if you haven't seen him, I would personally regard.
It's really good.
I genuinely think
he played
the
role
best.
Really
I think
well.
he's the best Korean actor there is. Period. You've got Song Kang-ho. You've got Chae Min-sik if you've seen it, Old Boy. Song Kang-ho's in Parasite. He's been in A Little Thirst, which is another of the Park Chan-wook director. They're probably the two. There's a lot of great actors. Lee Byung-hun, who's in Red, if you've seen it, and G.I. Joe. But Ha Jung Woo, this guy, what he touches is gold. He has so much range, and he's a great actor. And yes, I think this was the first film I'd ever seen him in. So you literally believe this guy is badass. He's so good at hiding his emotion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can just make him look
just really plain faced.
Yeah. So you could believe he was a sociopath. And I think that was just so great about this movie.
That was the thing. You had no idea where, because there was kind of no emotion. You had no idea where he was going to go each time. How he might react. No, he was brilliant.
The film in Korean is called Jugyokcha. And basically the English pronunciation, the what term they use for the word is the chaser, and there literally is a lot of chasing. There's a hell of a lot. Fair play to them. There's a lot of cardio going on, but the fight sequences are just epic as well. They just really are, aren't they? It's just we had Nobody a few weeks ago, and what I love about, and it's nothing against John Wick, and we've done the Romeo, we've done the Jet Li, all of them, they're very choreographed, they're very, and not that these aren't, but they look like, how I would fight, or how, I don't know, I have no MMA training, so yeah, exactly, there's going to be a lot of clawing, a lot of slaps. That brings us to our last thriller, Prisoners.
So this was my pick, and I had a lot of trouble picking a favourite thriller. I went backwards and forwards on a few things, as you know, but I decided to settle on Prisoners, and I'm glad I did. I don't think you had seen this, had you?
I have seen it. I had seen it. Yeah, this is the second time watching it, so I just forgotten it. So it was.
You know what? I forgot most of the film as well. I thought I'd remembered, and then I was pleasantly surprised throughout the film. I was like, oh, yeah, I completely forgot that. So just to sum it up, Hugh Jackman has a family, and he goes round to another family's house. So his family go to another family's house, and they both got young daughters. And
War Machine's in this. War Machine Mark 1.
The original War Machine, Terrence Howard. Well, I suppose technically he wasn't War Machine in Iron Man War, was he? He was just Colonel James Rhodes.
He wouldn't.
Anyway, so they both got young daughters. It's a friendly neighborhood. Daughters go out to play and go missing. They're seen playing around like a camper van, which turns out to be owned by like a mentally challenged adult. He's sort of got the mind of a child, and
played by Paul Dano.
Oh, he played that role amazingly.
Really well. He's a good actor, but he was superb.
What it's about: Hugh Jackman going on the hunt, trying to find his daughter or both the girls, and becoming completely unhinged.
Well, he's a desperate father, isn't he? He's just a desperate father. He's,
and Terrence Howard playing.
If someone took your kid, you would.
I would. I mean, they both play two very different versions of how I imagine you would react. Hugh Jackman being completely unhinged, and Terrence Howard just trying to follow.
He's kind of going along with it, but rationalizing that it is wrong.
And Jake Gyllenhaal is a detective that's brought in, who I thought was brilliant as well. And again, there were lots of twists and turns, which I completely forgot about and wasn't expecting. But absolutely loved it. It does make you question a few things, especially about people, and about how people are perceived, in my opinion. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie still. What are your thoughts?
So it was definitely a slow burner. I'm not going to lie. So it got a long run time. We're talking almost 3 hours. So it's a lot to take in, a lot to process. But at the same time, you're along for the ride. Yeah. And like anything, you're not going to tune out because there's too much going on. We mentioned Paul Dano. And they sort of pinpoint it that he's the guy. He's got the camper van. He's arrested this, to begin with, and you're like, this guy. But then other sort of freaks rear their ugly head, and they start to cast aspersions, and you're just like, well, wait, is it him? And and the clues lead to other people, and there's a whole trail of events, and obviously it's for Jake Gyllenhaal to decipher, but Hugh Jackman has it in his mind. It's Paul Dano, and at the same time you're just like, it's got to be right. It's got to be Hugh Jackman's. He's pinned it on this guy. It's got to be. But it's, if anything, like what I found it was interesting. It's sort of a look into the psyche of a madman, and we mentioned The Chaser, and before, but so we spoke about Old Boy. Park Chan-wook is. People dub him as the Korean Tarantino. He did a film called Lady Vengeance with the main star of Old Boy, Chemin-shik, who basically is a child killer. And he basically captures this lady's child one day, and he basically makes her take the fall for all his murders, or some of them at least, or he'll kill this woman's daughter. So she takes the fall and goes to prison. Anyway, obviously she's plotting revenge while she's in prison. She eventually gets released and finds out that her daughter's been adopted, etc. But she basically finds out that he's killed loads of children. So he kind of wrangles in all the victims of all these people, and they literally expel their vengeance on him. Hence why it's called Lady Vengeance. Superb film. Probably don't need to review it now, but it kind of did remind me of this film a lot.
There were some very uncomfortable scenes.
Yeah,
in this film.
For me, I think I've seen better. Not that either of the performances were bad, but I've seen better performances from both of them, and it has some great twists, particularly the ending. I completely forgot that was happening. I was just like, oh snap, and that's good. If you're going to be sat there for 3 hours, at least entertain me. I just think they've done. Jake Gyllenhaal has done better thrillers. I keep saying end of watch. That's a great. To be honest, he's done a lot of great movies. Even the Nightcrawler, Nightcrawler.
But Hugh Jackman as well.
I didn't love it.
He's always excellent at getting angry.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Just his kind of shouting and ranting. He's always has, always brings a lot of emotion.
I think it could have. I guess my pet peeve on this, not that it was too long, but I just felt like it could have been shorter. I felt
that's fair enough. Yeah.
They just, and
I think it's 2.5 hours. I was just checking, but it was long.
There were just things about this film that were just like, I don't know. As I said, I love thrillers, and I've seen this movie, and I did enjoy it. I just think, for me,
That's cool.
And this, we should say to everyone, this is why we did this. It wasn't about the best thrillers there are. It was about our favorite thrillers.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna.
And we have seen a lot, and it is hard to pick.
Because we said Gone Girl, didn't we? Which is probably one of the best thrillers ever.
Untouchables, we're still considering.
The others, there are so many. But it was just
Cape Fear
we narrowed it down to
was one I nearly
exactly.
went with.
Yeah.
But
this, you love this, and I love The Chaser, and we'd both seen 187, and it was
so
kind of like
there's no point in ranking them really, is there, this week?
No, it isn't.
Because it's just about choices. But we all know I would win.
And therein lies the thriller, because there is no ranking.
And that's the twist ending.
That is the twist ending. Thank you for watching.
We'll come back and do some more thrillers because there are tons of them. But we'll do that at some other point.
There are. Yeah.
There are. Should we leave it there? I think we'll leave it there.
Please leave your nice, horrible, and obnoxious comments below.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and click on the little bell icon to get notification whenever there's a new video up. And we will see you again next week for car chases. It's going to be a good one. We've got some good ones. Yeah.
We're going to be traveling at breakneck speed.
And we're going to try and do it in 60 seconds.
That's right.